Hey, it's Carl. Welcome back to Art of Shred, and I am here with a pretty exciting guitar. At least I think so. It's a 2005 Squier Cyclone in Cobalt Blue Metallic. I found this on Craigslist. Obviously, it's not new. They only made these guitars for a few years. They've replaced it with, nowadays they make it's called the Paranormal Cyclone. The differences are, the body shape is similar. The Paranormal has 3 single coils, and instead of a 3-way switch, it's got 3 switches where you can turn the pickups on and off. I like this style a little bit better, like the humbucker and the bridge. So anyway, really cool looking guitar. I didn't notice, even though I was inspecting the saddles, I didn't notice that the high E string saddle has been replaced with a generic saddle that doesn't look like the other ones. So the other ones have Fender stamps on them, and this one, you'll see in the close-up, it looks different. It's disappointing when you don't notice something like that when you're buying a used guitar. That's life. Something else that, and this is a Fender or a Squier issue, is, I'll show a close-up of this. Right here on the fretboard, there's a knot. So this is Rosewood. It's just cosmetically, it doesn't look great. Again, it doesn't affect playability, but why would they use knotted wood for a fretboard? I get using knotted wood for a body where you're gonna cover it in finish, in lacquer and paint, where you're not going to see those knots, but come on, the fretboard. As far as this guitar, really good condition, especially considering, it's 17 years old now. So made in Indonesia. It's got the nice skunk stripe. This is the vintage modified series. It's got just the standard cheap tuners, and it's got a few nicks in the neck, a few scratches in the finish, but other than that, it looks nice. A little bit of maybe a sharp fret or two, not too bad. That just happens over time, temperature changes, stuff like that. Wood expands and contracts, and things like that happen as far as fret sprout, but this one's pretty good. I did have to straighten out the neck. It was bowed a little too much. Real easy, just a truss rod adjustment. All set up. I say this a lot, I think, but after polishing frets to a mirror shine, they just look so beautiful, and they're just buttery smooth when you're playing. Check out how they look. Now, I don't know if that totally comes across on camera, but I promise you, beautiful. So one thing I did have to fix with the frets is the 13th fret was high, and so had to file that down, crown it, all that type of stuff. And then I polished all the frets, like I said. Oh, I also, before polishing, I actually took the fret end file and dressed all the frets, gave them more of a rounding. And that came out weird. Oh, I rounded the frets a little, and it just makes the neck feel so nice. Basically, it's like what you find in higher end guitars. Feels so good. Okay, lemon oiled the fretboard, cleaned that up. The only problem with it is you can only buy it used. So, I can't say what kind you're gonna find, but this one is sweet. Oh yeah, had to set the intonation, of course. That's pretty much always the case. A lot of people, when they buy a guitar, they never take it to a tech, and so guitars generally don't come with proper intonation, so that never gets taken care of anyway. 10-minute fix, I'll link the video below. Man, it looks so good. Yeah, it just looks so good. Only that knot that Squier decided to use is unfortunate. This thing is way better than when I bought it, I will say that. Let's get to the demo. right, final thoughts on the Squier Vintage Modified Cyclone. Now, early in the video, I was super positive on it, but part of that is there's a little bias here, right? I bought this guitar used on purpose, not just to review it. And so that introduces a little bit of bias, right? I like this style of guitar. I'd never owned a Cyclone, and so it's fun for me. Is it good for you? I don't know. These are unique. They have kind of, their quirks, and not everybody likes that. I personally think it looks really cool. It plays well, especially now after I've, fixed the frets and stuff like that. And I think it sounds good. Now, back when it was released, it was a list price of $300, which nowadays is probably around $500. The old Vintage Modified series is comparable to the current Classic Vibe series as far as price and also quality, I would say, as well. And is it worth that? I would say probably yes. But is it worth it to you? Different story. If you like offsets, if you liked the sound of this, and if you want a Cyclone with a humbucker as opposed to the new ones that only have single coils, and you can find it used for pretty cheap, yeah, it's sweet. It's a sweet guitar. I would say if you can find it for, they sell it on Reverb often for around $300. I think it's probably worth $300, especially if it's in better condition, meaning you don't have to do all the setup stuff that I did on this one. If that's the case, yeah, it's definitely worth in that range. That's the Squier Cyclone. Stay tuned for a little bit more sound demoing at the end of this video. Before we get into that, of course, if you like this video, like it, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that fun stuff. It helps a lot. You don't want to do it, that's fine too. Thanks for watching.